कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकि कोकिलम्। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताया पतये नमः। जयत्याश्रितसन्त्रास ध्वान्तविध्वंसनोदयः प्रभावान् सीतया देव्या परमव्योमभास्करः परमव्योमभास्करः।
श्रीमते निगमान्त महादेशिकाय नमः। श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं रामनाम वरानने। How beautiful is this shloka that describes the essence of Ramanama. That said, we have been discussing in detail what are the namas of Rama and the Ramayana that occur in the Vishnu Sahasranama that have been presented to us by our Purvacharyas. I'm sure those of you who have grown up in some of the cities in Bharatadesham might have witnessed a lot of acute water shortage. I still remember some of the years in the early 1980s and 90s when Chennai, the capital city of Tamil Nadu, faced a lot of water shortage. One advantage of those cities which are by the coast is they can use the new technology of converting the sea water into soft water, which is drinkable water. Well, we have heard of these lines, water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. Imagine a person who's traveling by a boat, a ship, a cruise, always has to carry some good drinkable water with him or her. If there is shortage of drinking water, you cannot say, well, you're surrounded by the seas, jump into the seas, drink those waters and come. No, that is not going to be possible. Though there is water everywhere, there is not a drop to drink, which literally means sea water cannot be consumed. Samudrasya jalam lavanam. The salt in the sea water will not make it drinkable enough. Then what is the way? You have to remove all the salt, excess salt, the salt in the seawater. So technology today aids us do it. It is called the desalination plant. So waters are taken from the seas and the salt is separated. Let us now go to how salt is formed. We have many salt lakes, salt ponds which are formed in some of the salt-based companies. The sea waters are brought. It is dried, it is made into brine, and then the water gets dried and you get salt. Just because we take loads of sea water, will someone say, oh my goodness, you've taken so much of sea water, tomorrow the sea will disappear? No. Akasha patitam toyam sadaram yatha gacchati. Whatever water comes on earth as a rain will have to go to the sea. No sir, it also rains on land. How will it go to sea? Imagine the water comes on the mountain, then there is a stream, river, lake. Finally, where will it go to? It has to go to the sea. So even if we find many rivers welling up, they all finally have to end up being in the sea. So how much ever water you take from the sea will not lose its volume. Similarly, Ramayana says, just because Hanuman was a recipient of Rama's grace, it doesn't mean Shabari will not have the opportunity to not get the grace of Rama. As much as Hanuman received the grace of Rama, even Shabari will get. Because Rama is like the deep sea. How much ever grace and boons you take from him, he still remains the whole. Imagine, I've got 1 liter of milk. I'm taking half a liter to make some sweet. How much will remain? Another half liter. This is how we see with earthly objects. Now during Deepavali, Deepasya Avali iti Deepavali. In the north of India, people call it Diwali. Whichever way we call the festival, on that evening we light lamps. What do? We have one main lamp. We take another lamp, take fire from this lamp and light it, and we share the fire with other lamps. Because we are sharing fire with other lamps, will the fire in the main lamp come down? No. Purnamadav Purnam Idam Purnat Purnamudachate, says Vedam. So Parabrahmam is like fire. How much ever fire you take from the fire will still remain the whole. Purnamada Purnamidam. Even if you take a part from the whole remains the whole. How much ever water you take from the sea will remain the sea. How much ever gunas you take from Rama still is an embodiment of all gunas. Why? Because the 416th Nama in Vishnu Sahasranamam says he is called Adhokshajaha. Evam Amritodadhivat Sarvaihi Sadopa Yujyamanopi Adho Nakshiyate Jatu Yasman Adhokshajaha. Why is he called Adhokshaja? Evam Amrito Dadhivat Sarvaihi Sadopa Yujyamanopi Adho Nakshiyate. How much ever you take the whole from him, he will not get disturbed. This process of remaining the whole while he is there is called as Adhokshaja. So, Hanuman was a recipient of Rama's grace. That didn't dry up Rama's qualities. Shabari was a recipient of Rama's grace. That didn't dry up Rama's qualities. Sugriva was a recipient of Rama's grace. That didn't dry up Rama's qualities. Vibhishana was a recipient of Rama's grace. That didn't dry up Rama's qualities. Hanuman was a recipient of Rama's grace. That didn't dry up Rama's qualities. Be it Hanuman, Sugriva, Vibhishana, Shabari, Guha, whoever be it. They were all recipients of Rama's grace. But that didn't take away the luster from Rama, because Rama was like the deep ocean. The one from whom we take the gunas and recipients of gunas, yet he remains the whole, like the deep ocean, is called as Adhokshajaha. The next Rama is Ritu. What does Ritu mean? Generally, when we come across our friends, when we speak about the climate, we will ask, what is it? See, there is a friend who's calling me, will immediately ask, how is the weather? Is it very hot? Is it very cold? Is it raining all time? So we generally ask questions about the weather, about the climate. So today's weather could be hot. Today's weather could be sultry. But over a period of time, we designate certain months. We say Jan, Feb, March, generally cold. April, May, June, generally hot. Besides being hot and cold, we have other seasons. We have monsoon, when it rains. When it is autumn. See, on one side we have Basanta Ritu. What is Basanta Ritu? All the flowers start blooming. When you visit the tulip gardens of Kashmir, when you visit the tulip gardens of Amsterdam, when you visit the beautiful the valley in Himachal and Uttarakhand, beautiful it looks. The flowers will all be scattered. It will look very colorful. You'll find yellows, you'll find violets, you'll find reds, you'll find pinks. It looks so pleasing to the eyes. When the flowers blossom, the bees come hover around the flowers to take the nectar. The sight is extremely beautiful. Let's take another example of the winter. So what happens in the winter just after the autumn? Autumn is not very prevalent in India, but whereas when you go further northwards in the northern hemisphere direction, you have the fall season where all the leaves fall. So the trees shed their leaves. That is a beautiful time, that autumnal night when all the branches are empty. Those emptiness add a beauty. Then comes the cool climate. I'm sure people who live in some parts like Delhi and Rajasthan, when you get winters, you'll be waiting for those nights to get some hot badam milk, some hot gajar ka halwa. So that's a ritu. So you designate certain weather: summer season, winter season, monsoon season, autumnal season, spring season. That is a ritu. Sir, that is called ritu, understandable. Why is Rama called ritu? The question is, why is Rama called Ritu? The commentator says, Sadapya Purvai Sarvollasa Karai Uttarottair Guna Pariyaya Gachati Iti Ritu. He always presents himself so very fresh, so very beautiful. See, suppose we have guests at home. I dress up myself very well. I talk to them very well. After a few hours they have left, I'll become tired. So people can see the fatigue on my face. But when Rama has visited Shabari, granted her, graced her, and then meets Hanuman, it doesn't mean Hanuman sees a tired Rama. For Hanuman, he will look even more fresh than what he looked to Shabari. Later, when he sees Sugriva, he will look even more fresh than what he has appeared to Hanuman. So, every sight of his is even more beautiful than the previous. Like how the previous example I gave was that of ocean. When you stand by the beach, you get one wave. You'll think this is a big wave. The next one will be bigger than this. The one after that will be bigger than the previous. So, every wave outpowers and does better than the previous wave. Similarly, Rama's grace is also like that. When he blesses his devotees, his current position will be always be better than the previous, which is vice versa for us. We will look fresh in the morning, tired in the afternoon, and will be very tired in the evening. Whereas Rama will become fresh. This aspect of Rama is like the season. Generally, we say, last summer was hot, this summer is hotter. Last winter was cold, this is even colder. Last spring was beautiful, this spring is even more beautiful. So we always compare seasons. So we compare seasons and say this is much better than the previous. This is worse than the previous. So we always relatively use that word. Rama is also like that. Hence he is called Rituhu. Sadapya Purvai Sarvollasa Karai Uttarottair Gunapariyayair Richa Gachati Rituhu. The commentator says, Itohi, like how Vasanta Shishiradina Api Ritutva. Like how we appreciate the winter and the spring season, so is Rama too. There is a beautiful work. Those of you who want to appreciate the Indian literature will know that Mahakavi Kalidasa came up with a beautiful poem called as Ritu Samharam. So in Ritu Samharam, he describes the effects borne by the nature because of the change in the season. Extremely beautiful work. So Ritu denotes a season. This aspect of appearing even more beautiful than the previous in the Ritu is seen in Rama. Hence Rama is also called Ritu. Like the ocean, he never dries up. He is Adhokshaja. Like the Ritu, he presents himself even more beautiful than the previous time. So he is called Rituhu. These two namas, Adhokshajaha and Rituhu, beautifully describe the essence of Ramanubhavam in Ramayana.
Dear Astika reader, I am happy to be authoring a two-part book on the Ramayana in English. The first part is slated for release in the year 2024. The book aims to recreate and retell the Ramayana of Valmiki, conforming to the ancient commentaries and other allied literature. To receive notifications of the book release, kindly register with www.deshikadaya.org/books. Namaskaram.